bullshit. This is Roy with Ben here at Fuse MMA, and today I'm going to show you how not to hold the pads. You know, these days, especially on inside UFC or inside some guy's gym, you see a lot more people holding pads, really slamming the pads into the hitter's hands and legs. Last time I checked, I never dodged a punch by doing this, never absorbed a kick by doing this. So I'm not entirely sure what that does except make a nice loud sound on the pads. The whole point of hitting mitts and Thai pads is to work on your accuracy, your range, your timing, and then your speed and your power. So yes, Ben should learn how to hit a punch that gets jammed up every now and again, but 80 to 90% of his hitting should be training on how to work at his ideal range, which is here. Because he's taking the cue off my body. I don't even particularly care for holding pads out here in the sweet spot because he's taking the cue off my body. So I try to hold the mitts as close to accurate range as possible, especially on punches like the uppercut. On that uppercut, I find if I go to a place without a particularly experienced pad holder, I hurt my wrist a lot because if I hold the pad like this, he's going to throw at a certain angle. If I change the range and angle all of a sudden, it torques the wrist out of joint. So even with hand wraps, I find I'm getting wrist injuries because of that unpredictable meeting of the pad. Just hold it where he's going to hit it. Ben hits very hard when he wants to, but with these pads on, for a punch like the uppercut, I really don't need to move that much, and I'm not hurting myself, and more importantly, I'm not hurting him. The main reason I ever move the pad into the hip is to make some concessions for my own safety. So, for example, I can't hold for Ben's right cross like this because he's just going to take my shoulder off. It's just that hard. So, especially with the Thai pad, which has a lot of mass, I hold it a little bit in front of me, and I do give it a forwards impulse. Drill it. And I find what is the minimum amount of compromise I can make so that he has accurate training and I'm preserving my body. I get it, if no one's paying you to hold mitts, you want to preserve your body as much as possible, but it is about finding that compromise between where can I hold effectively and still give my partner a good workout. Same with the kick. If I'm running into the kick and beating his leg down, all I'm doing is constantly jamming him up. And worse, especially, you know, Ben has a lot of hitting experience, so it's not such a big deal, but if you're training beginners, they will learn to compensate for that out-of-range punch. They're going to learn to stop here and push with their chest muscle the rest of the way, rather than get a crisp, clean shot. And so, against an advanced striker, they might be able to deal with it, but it's still not helping them. And against the beginner, it's a real disservice. So again, we're holding in range, on target, right? We're holding the hooks at center line or more because he's aiming for the right side of my body, so I don't hold it out here. And then I'm holding it as close to my body as I trust him to be able to hit. The more I do this, the more I'm training him to hit at the incorrect distance, screwing up his timing, jamming him up, and training him to compensate for stuff that would never happen in real sparring or real fighting. Anything else?
Also, you know, it's a term or a matter of injury as well, because if Roy jams me up on this kick, there is a chance I could hyperextend my knee, hurt myself. Instead, I need to train the full range of what I have. And what good is having this length if I don't know how to use my range? If I'm jammed up, I can't use my range. I need to use the full range of motion to get the full power in my strike.
Yeah. These extra thick Thai pads, again, Ben's a pretty hard kicker. I find I can hold pretty much here with minimum compromise because these are extra thick Thai pads. I find the knee is the hardest thing with the Thai pads because if Ben's got me in the clinch and he throws the knee on target for real, that's how far it is. You notice how much range I take away with the Thai pads, so he's losing a lot of runway. So if we're thinking about developing the power knee, I actually do like him to stand a touch farther away, maybe with his hands on my shoulders, and then now the target is actually the real distance. right? That feels quite comfortable compared to if you're in the full clinch and I'm using the full Thai pads. He's a little bit jammed up there. So depending on what you're working on, you may want to make slight adjustments so that he gets the proper body mechanics of his hitting. Or you can use thinner Thai pads and be more on target, but of course then he can't hit as hard. So using the proper tools for the right situation. So again, please stop slamming the Thai pads into the target. You want to hold it as close to the final target destination as possible, and if necessary to preserve your health, give it a little bit of a push, but don't slam it in from way out. There's no need to. If he sees something coming in from way out, he should be ducking or covering, because that's an attack. That's not a target or pad holding. So hold it on target with minimum movement. And also, it allows you to get to the next hold quickly. You see how a lot of my drills, I'm focusing on getting that half beat, third beat, split second timing. I can't hold to the next hit if I'm swinging wildly around. I have to be efficient with how I hold my Thai pads. And that's good for him, and it's good for me. This is Roy Ben here at Fuse MMA. Hope this helps your Thai pad training. Keep your chin down, elevate your striking.